Most people freeze when life throws impossible choices at them. But what if I told you that the decisions that scare you the most are the ones that will change your life forever? Today, I'm revealing the exact mindset and brutal truth Andrew Tate lies by to turn fear into power, hesitation into action, and hard choices into unstoppable success. If you want to stop playing small and start dominating your life, stay with me until the very end, because everything you think you know about fear and success is about to be destroyed. Life doesn't reward comfort. It never has, and it never will. Think about it for a second. Look around at the world, at the people who dominate their fields, who live lives most only dream about. Do you think they got there by playing it safe, by sitting back and waiting for everything to be easy? No, they got there by stepping into decisions that scare them, that make their stomach churn, that keep them awake at night, wondering if they're about to make the biggest mistake of their life. That fear, that tension you feel when you're about to make a hard choice, that's the signal that you're standing at the edge of something massive. That's the exact moment that tells you, this is the path most people are too weak to walk, too weak to even consider. And that is where power lives. That is where freedom lives. The moment you face a choice that terrifies you, the moment your mind screams at you to step back, is the moment that separates ordinary people from the ones who actually carve their names into history. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. You've got to understand that if you want to reach the top of any game, whether it's business, sport, relationships, or even your personal mindset, you have to train yourself to love that feeling of discomfort, that feeling of being on the edge. Most people, the vast majority, run from it. They wait for clarity. They wait for perfect timing. They wait for everything to align before they act. But life doesn't work that way. Life is messy. Life is brutal. And it rewards the people who can make decisions in the chaos, who can step forward when every voice in their head is screaming, stop. This is too risky. This is too hard. You can't do it, because here's the truth. They can. You can. You just have to push past that fear, past that instinct to retreat, past the easy path that almost everyone else is chasing. And here's the thing about those scary choices. They almost always feel wrong before they feel right. That's the nature of moving beyond mediocrity. When you're faced with a hard choice, your mind will try to trick you. It will give you excuses. It will highlight all the risks, all the reasons to back down, all the ways you might fail. And guess what? You will fail if you never act. Failure is guaranteed if you stay comfortable. But if you lean into that fear, if you stare it in the face and say, I don't care what you think, I'm doing this anyway, that's when the magic happens. That's when the doors that seem locked swing wide open. That's when opportunity, money, respect, and power, all the things most people chase their whole lives, start flowing toward you because you made the choice that others couldn't. Let me give you an example. Something simple but powerful. You're offered a career move, a business opportunity, or a chance to compete with people who are better than you, stronger than you, smarter than you. Every part of you says, don't. This is too much. You're not ready. Most people listen. They step back. They settle. And they wonder why 5, 10, 20 years later, they're still in the same place. They look at other people, people who took the leap, people who made the terrifying decision, and they think it was luck. It wasn't luck. It was courage. It was action. It was action. It was choosing the hard path when the easy path was right in front of them, whispering sweet lies about safety, comfort, and certainty. The people who succeed, the people who become legends in their own lives, are not immune to fear. They don't wake up one day fearless and magically make the right choice. No, they feel the fear, they acknowledge it, and they step into it anyway. They understand that the presence of fear is a sign they're doing something right. That churning in the stomach, that voice in the back of the mind screaming, this is dangerous. It's not a warning to stop. It's a signal to accelerate, to commit, to push forward harder than anyone else will. So if you want to make hard choices, if you want to live a life that most people would envy, you have to start seeing discomfort as a gift, fear as a tool, and hard decisions as opportunities disguised as nightmares. You have to train your mind to embrace the unease, to welcome the challenge, to take that step forward when everyone else freezes. Because that step, that single choice, the one that sets you apart from mediocrity, that lifts you above the crowd, that transforms you into someone who doesn't just exist, but dominates, conquers, and lives fully on their own terms. And when you finally realize this, when you finally accept that life only rewards the bold, the fearless, the ones willing to stare fear straight in the face and move anyway, you'll never look at a hard choice the same way again. You'll crave it. You'll seek it out. You'll understand that every uncomfortable decision, every terrifying opportunity is a step toward greatness that most people will never even consider, let alone take. Fear isn't a signal to stop. It's a compass pointing you toward growth, power, and freedom. Most people misunderstand fear. They think it's a warning, a reason to retreat, a reason to take the easy road and avoid risk. But that's exactly the trap that keeps the majority of people living small, struggling to find meaning, and wondering why life seems so unfair. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your indicator that something important is in front of you, something that can change your life if you have the courage to act. Every time your heart races, every time your mind screams, you can't do this. That's the exact moment when opportunity is knocking, when your limits are about to be tested, and when the world is giving you a chance to separate yourself from mediocrity. The people who succeed in life are not immune to fear. They feel it more than anyone else because they're constantly pushing boundaries, constantly challenging themselves, constantly stepping into the unknown. When you face fear, you're at a crossroads. One path is safe. It's predictable. It's comfortable. It doesn't demand anything from you, but it also doesn't give you anything. The other path is scary, unpredictable, and risky. It might make you fail. It might make you look foolish. It might test you in ways you didn't imagine. But it's the path that leads to greatness. It's the path that builds character, that builds strength, that builds freedom. Every successful person, every dominant figure you admire has walked that second path. They've stared fear in the face and chosen to move forward anyway. They've embraced the uncertainty, the pressure, the potential for failure, and they've turned it into fuel. The key to understanding fear is realizing that it's a sign that you're about to level up. Fear is the nervous system's way of telling you that this decision matters, that this challenge is significant, that this moment will shape who you are. And here's the brutal truth. Most people are too weak to handle that signal. Most people see fear and panic. They see it and retreat and retreat. They see it and make excuses. They see it and convince themselves that waiting, hesitating, or doing nothing is safer. But the reality is doing nothing is always the riskier move. Doing nothing guarantees stagnation, regret, and a life where you always wonder what if. The only way to conquer fear is to confront it head on, to move through it, to let it guide you rather than paralyze you. Think about the moments in your own life where you felt fear. Maybe it was a choice to start a business, to leave a toxic relationship, to move to a new city, or to compete with someone stronger than you. That fear wasn't a sign to quit. It was a sign that this decision had the potential to change everything. That fear was a signal that you were about to grow, to expand, to step into a version of yourself you hadn't met yet. And here's what separates winners from everyone else. Winners learn to see fear as a challenge to overcome, not a threat to avoid. They understand that the moment their body is screaming to turn back is the exact moment they need to push forward harder than ever. Fear also teaches you clarity. When you lean into it, when you face it, you discover what you truly want to. You find out who you really are, what you're willing to endure, and what kind of life you're willing to fight for. Comfort never reveals that. Playing it safe never reveals that. But fear forces decisions, forces action, forces you to confront the reality of your desires and the lengths you're willing to go to achieve them. And once you embrace that, once you start listening to fear as a signal rather than an obstacle, life changes. Doors that seemed impossible to open begin to swing wide. Opportunities that were hidden by doubt and hesitation become visible. Confidence, power, and freedom start flowing naturally because you've trained yourself to thrive where others falter. And once that momentum starts, it compounds in ways that waiting, hesitating, and fearing never can. Every step forward, every small victory, every action builds on the last, creating a force so powerful that it carries you through obstacles that once seemed impossible. Another truth most people refuse to face is that failure is inevitable. You will fail if you take risks. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. But here's the catch. Failure is not the end. Failure is information. Failure is feedback. Failure is a stepping stone toward mastery. The people who win, the people who dominate, the people who refuse to live small understand this. They see failure not as a reason to stop, but as a reason to refine, adjust, and push harder. They embrace it. They learn from it. And they use it to fuel the next move. Waiting for perfect conditions is the opposite of that. Waiting is paralysis. Waiting is surrender. Action, even imperfect action, is the only way to create results. So how do you start? You stop seeking permission. You stop seeking guarantees. You stop asking for validation from the world or from yourself. You pick a direction, commit fully, and move. Analyze what you can, prepare as much as possible, and then execute relentlessly. Momentum is born from action, not thought. Confidence is built through doing, not dreaming. And success. Success only comes to the people willing to act when everyone else hesitates. The people willing to move when everyone else waits. The people willing to choose the hard path and run toward it with full force. Remember, the life you want will never appear neatly packaged, waiting for you to feel ready. The world doesn't care about your comfort zone. Your dreams, your freedom, your power, they exist beyond it. The moment you stop waiting for perfect conditions, the moment you commit fully and take action despite the uncertainty, is the moment you start living on your terms. That's the moment you move from ordinary to extraordinary, from hesitation to dominance, from fear to absolute control over your life. We die. That's how winners are made, how legends are born, and how a life of freedom, power, and success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Now, listen carefully, because this is where most people fail. No. Most people hear motivational speeches, they get pumped for a few minutes, and then they go back to the same life, the same excuses, the same hesitation. But you're not most people. You're here, you're listening, you're ready to act, and that's why this moment matters. Life isn't about comfort. Life isn't about waiting for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, or the perfect plan. Life is about action, real action, bold action, decisions that scare you, push you, challenge you. And I'm telling you right now, the people who win, the people who dominate, the people who live life on their own terms, they're not waiting. They're not hesitating. They're not asking, am I ready? They're asking, how do I crush this? How do I move forward when everyone else freezes? How do I make this mine? That's the difference. That's the edge. That's the mindset that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Do you want to be average? Do you want to wake up 10 years from now looking at the same streets, the same job, the same life, wondering where the time went and why nothing changed? Or do you want to dominate? To be the person who makes life bend to their will, who takes risks while others retreat, who moves while others hesitate? Fear, discomfort, uncertainty, they're not enemies. They are signals. They are tools. They are the fuel that powers your rise. The exact thing that's making your stomach twist, that's making your heart race, that's making your mind scream at you to stop. That's the very thing that's telling you, this is your path. This is where your life changes. This is where winners are made. Think about every decision that could change your life. The hard choices, the terrifying choices, the choices most people refuse to even consider. That's where your power lies. That's where the growth, the respect, the wealth, the freedom are hiding. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't step forward, no one else will. If you don't act, nothing changes. The world doesn't care about your fears. The world doesn't care about your excuses. The world rewards those who do, those who move, those who are willing to pay the price to live the life they deserve. So make the choice. Take the step. Commit fully. I want you to feel this right now. The fire in your chest, the pulse in your veins, the voice in your head screaming that you can't do it. That's your moment. That's your opportunity. That's the battlefield where legends are forged. Step into it. Lean into it. Void in. Let it drive you. Let it push you. Let it turn your fear into fuel, your doubt into determination, your hesitation into relentless forward motion. Because here's the thing. Success isn't given. It isn't handed out like candy. Success is taken. Success is claimed. Success is claimed. Success is earned by the person willing to move when everyone else stands still, willing to act when everyone else freezes, willing to choose the hard road when the easy one is whispering sweet lies about comfort and safety. You will fail. You will stumble. You will get knocked down. But that's part of the journey. That's the price of greatness. And the difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners get back up. Winners learn. Winners adjust. Winners keep moving forward, even when the world tries to convince them to quit. And guess what? You can be that person. You can rise above fear. You can rise above doubt. You can rise above the noise and chaos of the world that's telling you to be small, telling you to wait, telling you to play it safe. You just have to decide. Decide right now. Decide to act. Decide to commit. Decide to live a life so big, so bold, so powerful that mediocrity can't touch you. So here's the challenge for you today. Take one decision that scares you. Take one step that makes your gut twist. Make the choice that most people avoid. Commit fully. And then keep moving. Don't stop. Don't doubt. Don't hesitate. Because the moment you act despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite the voice in your head telling you to quit, that's the moment everything changes. That's the moment you stop being ordinary. That's the moment you start living like a champion. That's the moment you start living like a champion. That's the moment you claim the life you were meant to live. Remember this always. Fear is your compass. Hard choices are your weapons. And action is the path to power. Step into your destiny. Take control. Dominate. And never ever settle for anything less than the life you know you're capable of achieving.